What's up? We are live for another episode. I'm going to wait a few seconds to see if anybody's jumping on. If not, as always, if you're watching this recording, just make sure that you dig into the action items that are going to be at the end of this video. Okay? So, let's see here. So, in episode 1, I talked about, kind of laid the foundation for what intentional discomfort is. All right. So we're in the season of intentional discomfort. This is going to be episode 2, where we dig a little bit deeper into why I feel most people shy away from the intentional discomfort. And the reason that I feel like I'm able to talk about this, because these are facts and real life experience that I've gone through in my own life and helped other people through deep coaching conversations tackle and deal with in their life. So look, I'm just sharing this stuff because I feel it can be helpful to you if you might be going through these situations. If it's not helpful, that's okay too. But I'm on a mission to just share. This is free information. If you'd rather go check out cat videos and celebrity gossip and those kind of things, that's available too. Here we're talking about personal development and being a little bit better today than we were yesterday, and then repeating that tomorrow. So in order to do that, what I found is you have to be willing to get uncomfortable. And in order to really get uncomfortable the way that makes a difference in your life, you have to be willing to stop lying to yourself. I want you to think about that for a second. You have to be willing to stop lying to yourself. So this episode is going to be all about how to stop lying to yourself so that you can gain some serious momentum. And it's something that can start immediately. So I took some notes here. You see, I have notepads at all times. So I took some notes. So if you see me looking down, I just want to make sure that I stay on track, so this is actionable and understandable for you. Okay. So let's face it. You're a liar. I'm a liar also. Right? Lies come in so many different forms. And what I'm doing today is I'm going to provide you different perspective on what lying actually is. All right. It's not that you're telling these bold, outright lies to yourself or other people. I'm talking about the subtle lies that sneak up and you don't even know they're happening. All you know is that you look back over your life after a few years and you realize nothing's really exactly where you want it to be, even though you said it was going to be. And this is something I had to go through and learn in my own life, is to be careful with the words that you say and the commitments, or the soft commitments that you give. Because otherwise what happens is you're lying to yourself. If you understand this one thing, and I'm about to tell you, then it will start to make sense. Life is full of trade-offs. So if you say you want to do something, or you want to accomplish something, or you want to be better in your relationships, or you want to have different work, a different career, or you want to adventure more, or you want to be better to yourself. If you define exactly what it is you want to do, then you have to make sure that you understand what the trade-off is going to be. You can't just keep doing the same thing you've been doing and get a new result. So there's a trade-off that you have to lean into. And this is where most people start to give excuses, because we don't want to sacrifice and struggle for the thing that we really want. We want just the thing we want to show up. We want to wake up tomorrow and automatically be different. And I would tell you that's where you become a liar, because it's not going to work that way. And you're fooling yourself. So if you understand that life is full of trade-offs, then the question I always ask you, what are you willing to struggle for, makes a lot more sense. You must sacrifice something in order to get to the thing that you want to have, whatever it is. And you have to be real about this. Maybe now is not the time that you're willing to give that sacrifice. That's okay too. But don't say that you want something, not be willing to give the sacrifice, and then complain about it when you don't have it. Right? It just turns into this vicious cycle of you're just complaining about something you had control over. And the more complaining you do, the more complainers you attract. And then it becomes like this cesspool of people complaining about things that they have control over. You might have experienced that before. So here it goes. Understand life's full of trade-offs. And maybe at this moment, you're not willing to give what it takes. You're not willing to deal with the kind of struggles that come with the thing you want right now. That's okay too. Just don't lie to yourself about it, because all that leads to is guilt and shame because you didn't do again what you said you were going to do. And we all do this at some level, right? When I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me. So now when people hear sacrifice, a lot of times they think of the extremes, right? You might think of, a president that's been assassinated, right? There was a sacrifice with being willing to go into office and know that this is a very, very possible ending to your life. There's soldiers that sacrifice every day, right? There are like Martin Luther King, who stood for something so strong that it created a pretty strong sacrifice, right? Now, I'm not talking about those extremes. Those are noble things, and those are things that we always remember. But your life isn't that. I'm talking about the little everyday things where you can your life would be better if you just gave the sacrifice that you needed. And the sacrifice really isn't much. It just takes you out of your routine and your comfort zone. So those extreme sacrifices, I believe, condition us to believe, to think about sacrifice as a negative. And it's really not. And so I'm talking about this again because I really want to drill it home that without the trade-off, there's no way to accomplish the thing. It's impossible. If you're saying yes to one thing, you are automatically saying no to something else, right? If you're on a journey to be more fit and you know that, removing the 3 days a week of alcohol is the trade-off, well, you can't drink alcohol and not drink alcohol. You're saying yes or no to one thing or another. Everything works that way. So what I'm going to challenge you to do is understand most people, and this might be you, decide to do something, whatever that thing is, and they get motivated, they get inspired, they are hopeful about the thing. And that fuels them enough to actually get started, right? But then there are terrible strategies, right? The inspiration, the motivation, and the hope, those are terrible strategies. Here's where your momentum comes from, right here. When you decide to do something, instead of being inspired or motivated or living on hope, what you have to do instead is install discipline, routines, and rituals. This puts you in the action of achieving the thing, whether you want to do it or not. So once you make this commitment, you install discipline, you put it in your routine, and you have a ritual of doing that thing and automating your thinking about it so that you don't make emotional choices, and you repeat that over and over and over. Before you know it, you've got this momentum and you achieve the thing that you want, and you repeat that over and over with other things in your life. Okay, so the discipline and the routines and the rituals keep you moving when the fuel runs low, right? The motivation, the inspiration, and the hope can give you some fuel, but that fuel is going to get low, especially on days where you're stressed out about something, or your boss says something you didn't like, or that guy cuts you off on the road, or, you have a, argument with your spouse. All of a sudden, the fuel tank is a little bit low. But if you have discipline, routines, and rituals, when the fuel tank is low, you do it anyway. And so in the next episode, we're going to get really tactical about how to install the discipline, the routines, and the rituals, because this is a must. You cannot avoid this. Right now, whether you know it or not, you have discipline, routines, and rituals with everything that you do, whether that thing you're doing is serving you or not. There's a ritual around it. You keep doing it. It's a cycle. All right. So you can install new discipline routines and rituals with everything that you actually do want. And you can start to create what you do want. Next week, we're going to get into the nitty gritty on how to do that. What I'm going to leave you with right now is 4 questions that I want you to actually answer. If you don't answer these 4 questions, all you've done is consumed some more information that you're not going to do anything with. There's a lot of people out there doing that. I don't want you to be that person. Okay? So these 4 questions, answer those, and then next week we'll tie it all together, and then you're going to be on a roll with some momentum that you might not have had without these 4 questions. So these 4 questions are all about getting to the truth, the honest you, the you that really wants to get to know you. All right. So question number 1, is there something that you want to change? Something comes up for you when you hear that. There's got to be something that you want to change. Write that question down. Is there something that you want to change? You don't have to answer these questions now, but I want to make sure you wrote it down. Question number 2. What have you been doing that's out of alignment with the change you keep saying you want? You can see how things will start to come together here. Is there something that you want to change? And then what are all the things that you've been doing that are out of alignment with the change that you say you want? Question number 3. What are the sacrifices, the struggles, the trade-offs that you have to endure in order to achieve the thing you want? This is where most people stop their own momentum because they're not willing to make these sacrifices. And again, if you're not willing to right now, be honest about that. Get to the truth about it and say, I'm just not willing to right now. But if you want to change and you know that, then what's the sacrifices, the trade-offs? What are the struggles that you need to endure in order to make that change happen? Then question number 4. Are you willing to make the sacrifices? This is where you have to be the most honest. If you're not willing to make the sacrifices, it's completely okay. But stop lying to yourself and stop complaining about it. If you're willing to make the sacrifices, then it's time to do the damn work. Take small steps. The small steps right now are answering these 4 questions. Put those away somewhere. Come back next week and we'll get tactical about the discipline, the routines, and the rituals, and how you add those into your day so you can automate your thinking. Because if you have to make a choice every time it's time for you to do the damn thing, most likely there's going to be some holes in your bucket. There's going to be some choices that you make that are emotional, spur of the moment, that go against what you actually want to be doing. All right. So there it is. I hope this episode has been helpful for you. This is episode 2 of the Intentional Discomfort season. In episode 3, we get deeper and we implement and we start taking more action. For now, make sure you've answered these 4 questions. If you feel like this video is helpful, make sure you share it, like it, leave me some comments. I'm actually going to check in right now, see if there's any comments that have come in. Season. Oh. In episode 3, we get deeper. So I don't see any comments right now, but if you have comments, leave them below and I'll make sure I get to them. Otherwise, take the action. And again, if it's helpful, I really appreciate you sharing it out. Again, I'm just doing this to help one person. If that was you, great. My job is done. If you feel like somebody else can use it, pay it forward. All right, y'all. This is Donovan. Peace. We'll see you on episode number 3.